Hello everyone and welcome to another JavaScript mastery video. Today we are going to go over the most important techniques that you can use to improve the SEO of the website you're building. There are a lot of factors regarding SEO from a marketing standpoint. Luckily, understanding a few basics about SEO will go a long way to your website's overall success. Searching for best SEO practices often returns contradictory and outdated information or topics related to keyword research, content optimization, and link building. It can be really easy to get lost in all the constant updates and dismiss SEO as something only SEO experts should do. This SEO guide jumps right into the main part. It focuses only on SEO topics relevant to the web developers. It skips SEO topics which are better suited for SEO experts, marketers, and business owners, for example, keyword building and content optimization. So let's dive right in. Firstly, we need to explain what SEO is and what are the main benefits of the websites that follow good SEO techniques. And secondly, we are going to go over factors that developers can directly implement to get higher rankings on Google. So, SEO, or Search Engine Optimization, is the process of increasing the quality and quantity of website traffic. Simply put, better SEO equals more visitors to your or your client's site. There are two main subcategories of SEO: on-page and off-page SEO. Off-page SEO refers mostly to factors that we cannot affect. For example, the niche of the website of your client, the outside links pointing to it, high-quality content, etc. On-page SEO, on the other hand, is a developer's job. It greatly affects the rankings of the website on Google and other search engines. In this video, we are going to focus solely on the aspects of on-page SEO that can be implemented directly by you, the developer, quickly and without any issues. Inside of here, we have basic index.html structure. If you're in Visual Studio Code, you can just type HTML5 or HTML and then choose this syntax. And it is automatically going to generate it for you. If you're using some other text editor, this may not be the case, but then you can simply type this out and then we are ready to go. So now that is out of the way, we can go back to our presentation and start with our first SEO guideline. And it is the title. Title tags are a huge signal in helping search engines understand what your page is about. They're arguably the most important on-page SEO ranking factor and should contain the main keywords that your page is targeting. So, what is the title tag? Inside of here, we can see that we Googled Saturday Night Live, for example, and right here on Google search, this Saturday Night Live-mbc.com, this is the title of the website. So you're actually choosing what is going to be displayed. And this greatly affects the click rate. If the title is, for example, boring or too long, not many people are going to click on it. So it is really important that we optimize our titles. And as it says here, title tags should be around 50 to 60 characters in length. So let's get back to our Visual Studio Code and let's actually see where we can put that title. Visual Studio Code actually brought our title right here. So it is just a title tag, basic tag, opening and closing one, and inside of here we can put the title of our website. So let's type something like learn JavaScript, and then we can put dash JavaScript mastery. This is one example of the title, and you can see right here that it includes many keywords. For example, it includes JavaScript or learn JavaScript as a separate keyword. And then we have the name or the title of our website. Right now we can go into the browser. Right now we can open this file inside of the browser by going into Reveal in Finder or something else if you're on Windows. And once we have it opened, we should see the title on top of our page. So let's see. So the page is now completely blank, nothing on there, but right here you can see that there is Learn JavaScript, JavaScript Mastery. So first step solved. Now we can get back to our presentation and see what else should we do. So the second thing that we need to do is the description. As with the title, description should be unique and should contain the primary keyword. As with the title, descriptions should be unique and should contain the primary keyword. They should also be under 150 characters and they should be relevant to the topic of your website. So let's see how we can implement the description. We can add our description by creating a meta tag. So it is a self-closing tag, and inside of here we can write name equal to description and content equal to the description that we want to put in. For example, if we are talking about JavaScript mastery, we can put something like this. So the purpose of JavaScript mastery is to help aspiring and established developers to take their development skills to the next level and build awesome apps. You can also throw in a few more keywords, but in here we have development, web development, JavaScript, and stuff like that. So basically this needs to be suited to your own website. We can also create comments right here, just so we know what we are doing currently. So this is a meta description. We already created a title. We are going to go over these tags in just a moment, but for now, let's get back to our presentation. Third thing on our list is URL. URL needs to explain what the website is about. It needs to be easy to understand and tell search engines and humans what the page is about. So regarding the URLs, we cannot implement that right here, but we can give some examples. For example, we have someone's blog. Let's say that the domain name of his blog is https and then domain name, or let's say his name. So John Doe, for example, johndoesblog.com. And now right here, we'll have something like /blog. It would be nice if every blog, so every specific article, has characters something like this, or even some ID code, which is like this. This isn't readable neither to the browser, nor the search engine, nor to the human. So it would be better if it were something like /blog and then the title. So the title of each specific blog. Let's say this one is about dogs, and then we can name it dogs or something like that. So URLs need to be readable, and then search engines will crawl better. Okay, now that this is out of the way, we can go to the fourth one. Fourth one is actually other meta tags. So with the title tag and the description tag, there are a lot of other meta tags that are important. Not as important as the description and the title, of course, but they still hold some value. So in here we can see that we have meta keywords attribute. A meta keywords is a series of keywords you deemed relevant to the page in question. So for example, if we go right here, we can create that meta tag for ourselves. We already learned that meta tags are self-closing tags and that we define them by name. So meta name equal keywords. And then inside of here, we can put content, and then we can write our keywords with comma separated values. So inside of here, we can write something like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. We can also do JS, web development. We can even divide it and stuff like that. They do not need to be uppercase. They just are in this example. And this is basically it for the keywords. It simply helps Google and other search engines understand better what the website is about. With the keywords, we also have a meta viewport. It gives the browser instructions on how to control the page's dimensions and scaling. So in here, we can see that Visual Studio Code already created a viewport for us. So we're simply going to put a comment, meta viewport. This is one of the most used viewports. It simply scales everything. If your website is mobile friendly, we are going to get to that later. It simply scales it nicely on mobile devices. We can also create our comment for our keywords. So we're going to type meta keywords. And this is just some other meta type that we are not going to talk in specific in this video, but as you can probably read from this, it is about compatibility with Internet Explorer Edge. So we're going to type meta Edge, for example, doesn't matter. We have a few more meta tags. For example, we have meta char set, which defines a character set. So we are using UTF, basically all characters, and it is in English. So it simply helps Google and search engines rank the website better. And we have author, which is used a lot with blogs. So if your website is something like a CMS, content management system, where a lot of new websites are going to be generated inside of it, then we can add an author meta tag to each one of the new websites. So inside of here, we can just put a comment for our char set. We use UTF right here, which is basically universal. So we can type meta char set. And inside of here, at the bottom, we can create meta author. And just below, we can create a new meta tag, which has a name of author. And it also has a content of the author's name, for example, John Doe. And we can close it, and that's it. There are a lot of subtle changes right here, but each one of these helps Google to rank your websites better. You can think of that this way. Most developers aren't concerned with SEO, and therefore your website, which has this, is going to rank most likely better than the competitors. Okay, we can get back to our fifth slide, which is favicon. So the main reason your website should have a favicon icon is improving user experience. It is much easier to find the needed bookmark by image associated with a certain website rather than looking through different URLs. So it goes side by side next to your URL. It improves your visual identity, brand identity, and simply makes your website easier to find and look better. So as you can see right here on the picture, it shows on the Chrome tab right next to the title. So we can go on the internet and find some random favicon. So I can show you how to put it there. So if we go inside of the Google and type something like favicon, we can see right here, we can click on any of this, I guess, and we should see some favicons. In here, we can generate favicons from images, which most people will find really useful, but we can also browse the favicon gallery. For example, let's type website, just something generic. And if we right click and save it, we can save it to our directory, and then we'll be able to put it inside of the website. Okay, we are back inside of the Visual Studio Code. Favicon is here. Make sure that you rename it to favicon if it isn't already. We specify the favicon icon with a link tag, which is a self-closing tag. And inside of here, we need to put rel, and it can be equal to shortcut icon, which is basically used for accessibility. We can also choose the type of our image. So we can type type, and it is going to be equal to image and then /ICO. And the most important part, we need to target it. So we're going to type href, and then we are going to type /favicon.ico. After we save that and we open our website inside of the browser, we are going to see the changes. So right here on top, if you can see next to our title, we have our favicon. It is really small, but I hope you can see it. It is also going to show up when you save the website. So if you save it right here, you can see that the title and the favicon are right here. Great. Now we can get back to our presentation and we can go to the next very important SEO tip. So regarding SEO, the faster the page loads, the better. So we need to make sure that we do not bloat the website with different frameworks, libraries, jQuery for example, and this goes for pictures or images. So if you're posting an image in your content, you must compress it. Images are one of the big causes of a slow website. There are a ton of different online compressors. This is just one example. So it is compressjpeg.com. If you go right here, you can upload an image and it is going to compress it. So let's see how this compression actually works. We can go on Google and search for copyright-free images. if you create websites, you are not allowed to use all images you find on the web. So Unsplash is a great website that has all the photos that you can really use. So inside of here, why not search for dogs? Dogs are always cute. So inside of here, we can choose one image and we can download it. Now we can put this image inside of our Visual Studio Code, and we can actually display it in our HTML. So we're going to create an image tag, which is a self-closing tag. It is going to have a source attribute with dogs.jpg. So inside of here, if we save that and put it as it is, we can also just correct the width to, let's say, 25%. Now we can go back inside of the browser and see how it looks. And if you go right here, you can see an image. Now we can choose the same image and then upload it to our compressor. Okay, right here you can see that it has 1.6 megabytes. That is really a lot when it comes to websites. For example, the whole size of your HTML, CSS or JavaScript can be in kilobytes, but this image alone has 1.6 megabytes, which is a lot. So now the image was downloaded and we can put it back inside of the Visual Studio Code. We can rename it to something like dogs.min.jpg, and we can put it next to this image just by typing dogs.min.jpg with the same width. So now if we go back and go inside of the website and refresh, you should be able to see the difference, right? Well, I personally cannot see any. So this compressor does its job really good. It compresses the image, but basically the quality stays the same or almost the same. It is definitely unnoticeable to the human eye. But what happened to the size of the file? So if we inspect these images, let's see how the file size changed. So let's collapse this right here, and then let's open this right here. So we can see that the unminified version has 1.6 megabytes and that the minified version has only 576 kilobytes. So that is about 3 times less than the original image, and the quality stayed almost the same. That's it for the images. Now let's see what else can we do. While we are at images, we also have some attributes. So attributes to these images can be alt tags. Basically, it stands for alternative content. They help search engines associate images with a web page's content, so they can properly index it within their search results. We can add our alt tag right here. So alt is equal to, and then the content. When you're doing alts, you do not need to say something like dogs and then say again images. It already knows that this is an image, so this is redundant. You can just type dogs, or for example, 2 dogs playing. And then your image is actually going to show in Google's search results. While we're at this, we can copy this and put it inside of this compressed image, and then we can delete this and simply add a comment. Optimized image with an alt tag. Simple as that. Okay, now this doesn't change anything in how we see the picture. This just changes how search engines index it, and also it is used for accessibility. So for example, for blind people, it is going to read this text to them so they can actually know what the image is about. We also have anchor tags. So anchor tags are basically links, and we can specify the title of an attribute. It is displayed as a tooltip in most browsers. Basically, it appears in a small bubble. We are going to see how it looks just now. So we can create a normal anchor tag that looks like this, and we can put href, which points to HTTPS and then google.com. And inside of here, we're going to write Google. Okay, so if we go back to our website, if we click it, it goes to Google as we anticipated. Okay, now that is ready, we can actually go back and put an title tag to our anchor tag. So inside of here, we are going to say something like Google. This is just a basic example, but with some links, it isn't clear where the link is going, so there can be something else in the title. For this example, we are going to use just Google. And then if we save and refresh, when you hover over the link, you can see that this Google title showed up. And this also helps search engines. Okay, let's go back to our presentation. And this 8th tip right here is one of the really important aspects of SEO. Nowadays, everyone is using a phone. Sometimes, or for some websites, or most of the websites actually, we access them by a phone. So why would you limit yourself to not having a mobile-friendly website? It is a critical part of your online presence. For the last few years, Google's indexing has been really focused on promoting the websites that are mobile-friendly, and the ones that aren't are going to be ranked lower on the Google search. So it is really important to implement that mobile friendliness. We are not going to do that right now because we do not have a website right here. We can create that in another video if you'd be interested, creating a whole website from scratch with HTML and CSS, for example, with deployment. But for now, let's just say how we can make the website mobile friendly. So in here, we already mentioned that we have this meta viewport right here. The most of the mobile friendly optimization is going to be happening inside of the CSS file where you're going to use media queries. So I'm just going to put it right here, media queries. You need to use media queries to showcase your website differently across all devices. And now to our 9th tip, which is minify and compress. We already mentioned that the smaller the file size, the faster the website will load and the Google is going to rank it better. So when you minify your website CSS, HTML and JavaScript files, you can save, not shave, some valuable time off of your site's load speed. Okay, so how are we going to shave off that some valuable time? Basically, we need to minify and compress our JS, HTML, and CSS. The same thing we did to images, we compressed it, we can also compress our HTML, JS, and CSS. There are a lot of websites that do this online. I'm going to put one of them in description. This one basically covers all 3 of them. So what minification actually is that if you go inside of here, you can see that there are a lot of spaces right here. So we have a space. Basically, humans use spaces to improve readability, but the browser doesn't need spaces. So we can remove something like, let's say, this space right here, this space, and all of the spaces that we have. This of course looks stupid in website that has 26 lines, but websites that have a lot of lines and a lot of different logic, for example in JavaScript, they can be compressed and simplified a lot. So that's it for this tip. And the last tip is keyword usage. So if you're creating a website for a client and he doesn't yet know what he wants to put on the website, make sure that keywords appear in a title, meta description, and headings. So if the website is about, let's say, JavaScript, as we said right here, we need to use the main keywords across all the websites. So they need to be used inside of the content of the keywords, description, title, even the URL or the domain name. We need to place the main keywords in headings, subheadings, and basically anywhere where we can squeeze it. So for example, if our page is about JavaScript and the brand is JavaScript Mastery, we can, for example, create an H1. Every website needs an H1. And then we can simply put learn JavaScript with JavaScript Mastery. Simple as that. We used a lot of keywords, and although sometimes it may seem repetitive, the more keywords that you put, the website will rank better for that keyword term. I really hope that you learned something new. If you like this video, feel free to stay tuned and subscribe to JavaScript Mastery. A lot of new people have been joining lately and the growth has been amazing. We are just about to hit 10k subscribers, so feel free to be one of them. This was more of a beginner-oriented video, but here on JavaScript Mastery we cover everything from beginner, HTML and CSS all the way to JavaScript and then React, deployment, and building different projects and websites. So if you like the content that I'm creating, feel free to subscribe and stay tuned for more.